What is going on, everybody? It is episode 407 of Pop Culture Crisis. Happy Monday, by the way. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I am once again in my just got out of jail look. I'm wondering how you like it. It's very original.
Well, you were telling me a story this weekend that you yourself got out of a speeding ticket.
Let's play Two Truths and a Lie about Mary time on the weekend, okay?
Mary time on the weekend. Let's do it.
Let's play Two Truths and a Lie about what happened to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Here's number one. I locked myself out of my car. Here's number two. They attempted to recruit me into a sex trafficking ring. Number three, I got pulled over for speeding 30 over the limit. Oh wait, this isn't Two Truths and a Lie. All three of these things are true. And yesterday was a new low for me in so many ways, but I'm back. I'm ready to tussle.
She comes in today to work this morning. I'm sitting here. I'm sitting here. I'm working, taking my notes. I've got my horrible handwriting. I'm trying to read what I'm writing, and she says, I had unironically like the worst day of my life yesterday.
Yeah, but like weirdly enough at the end of it, I was chilling. Like, we stay winning, guys. I didn't get a ticket.
You're a cute looking blonde girl. You're never going to get a ticket in your life.
Look, I have gotten a ticket though in the past.
Did you talk back to them?
No.
The guy was just like, this is the letter of the law, young lady.
I probably should have cried, but I mean, I couldn't make it happen.
See, you can't always fake that. That's not always possible.
I was legitimately like shaken enough where I was able to get it going. Like, I got the waterworks going, and we stay winning, folks, and we stay zinning. And also over the weekend, I was at Catholic Palooza. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this. It was a very chaotic time, okay? I was at a music festival called Catholic Palooza, which is everything it sounds like, I guess. All the artists there are Catholic. Basically, all of the attendees are Catholic. A pretty young crowd as well, and it was super fun. I saw Hallowed. I saw Franco Aurelio. I saw Margaret Knapp.
I don't know who the hell any of those people are.
I'm just like, in case any of you guys recognize those names, but if you don't, then you should look them up because they're great. But yeah, I was just wondering if any of you guys have heard of it, and they're probably going to do a second one next year because this one was sold out, and they can expand it next year. So I hope that like some of you guys look into it and you go if you're Catholic or even if you're not.
Oh yeah, well who wouldn't want
it? Sounds so bizarre. Like, we went to a bar afterwards, and everyone who saw us like from outside the event looked at our t-shirts and was like, what's that? Like, what? And we were like, Catholic Palooza. It was a music festival we just went to, and they just every time this look of pure disgust, and like it was like as if you had just shot someone in front of them. Like it was like, what the actual F is wrong with you?
I don't know if I could go to Catholic Palooza.
You could. I don't know.
Like, do a lot of people convert at Catholic Palooza? I'm
sure there were some people who weren't Catholic there. It was obviously mostly Catholic.
I saw a photo this weekend. It's not the first time I've seen it, but there's this great like meme / infographic thing where it shows a husband and a wife when they met at Woodstock. And then it shows them 30 years later in exactly the same spot, wearing the same, not the same clothes, but just about the same thing. And I guess they met that day, and they got married.
Day?
Well, they got married like right after, and they've been married for 30 plus years, which is quite a story. It's, I mean, I call that stuff positivity propaganda, which anything that's too nice on the internet.
Wholesome propaganda.
I love it.
You're too cynical.
I love it, but no, I follow a lot of those pages. It's like wholesome way to start the day, Good News Network, stuff like that. There's the one that Breitbart does, Be Inspired, and I love it. But when I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, like, did this actually happen? I don't know, maybe, but take it all with a grain of sand. So we got a bunch of...
A grain of sand. I never heard that before.
Grain of salt. Oh, it is a Monday. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays, does he not?
Really do.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about Mission Impossible. I want to talk a little bit about Sound of Freedom, and I want to talk about the absolute lies that came out of this article from the CBR, all related to the box office. There's some other language in the Hollywood Reporter article that I don't like one bit. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about big, bad, tough guy Ron Perlman threatening a bunch of billionaire studio executives, because that's what tough guys who live on someplace with a literal white picket fence That's what they do. They get big behind the camera. You know how you have keyboard warriors? Well, he's a phone warrior, and he doesn't even know how to use his phone, as you're going to see in this video. But he was recorded threatening the people during the strike who talked about, basically starving out people who couldn't afford their homes if the strike goes on too long. We're going to talk a little bit about him, Leslie Jones. They're the bad face of this writer strike. Zach from Comics Matter did a really good video about why the actor strike will work, but the writer strike won't, because the writers are all fat, slobbish looking, and generally unlikable people.
So the people wearing literally luxury clothing and jewelry are the ones who are going to win the strike.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
He's saying that they're better composed, they're better prepared, they're better spoken.
They're media trained, and they literally go on, like, if you look at this Ron Perlman video, he does a dramatic monologue. It's as if it were scripted for him, and he's writing better than the writers can.
Yeah, exactly.
In real time.
So let's say just because a writer can write doesn't mean that they can actually give the delivery.
He's like, not everything is about your effing Porsche and your effing...
I'm picturing him saying that, and he glances over to the side, and there's literally a Porsche just off camera.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about that.
In his gated community.
We're gonna talk about Jason Aldean. The country singer Jason Aldean has a brand new song out. What's it called, Mary?
It's called Try That in a Small Town.
And we're gonna talk about that. It's got some politically charged dialogue and rhetoric. We're gonna get into it because I thought the article talking about it was a bit unfair to the song. It dumbs down the explanation in a very, very stupid way.
People are having some very cringy reactions to the song. And I don't think that the song itself is like cringe overload. Like,
no.
It's not 81 million votes my ass.
No.
That's for sure.
So we're going to talk about that. Also, Bebe Rexha. If you don't know who that is, you're not alone. There's many, many other people on the earth who don't know who Bebe Rexha is. She's kind of like Ava Max. She has joined the Jonah Hill shaming school of thought started by Sarah Brady, where her boyfriend made a comment about the fact that she's put on about 35 pounds in a private conversation. He says it in a polite way that's actually meant to indicate a conversation that needs to be had about their relationship, and he's actually worried that she's going to break up with him. She goes and leaks the text because women are awful. No, I'm kidding.
No, because she's emboldened by the Jonah Hill situation to do this type of thing. I wonder who else is gonna do the same.
So we're gonna talk about that. There's a particular new level of violation that comes from leaking personal messages. So we're gonna get into that. We got a bunch of other stuff, but before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Also remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over, should you choose to send one of those, we will stop the discussion. We will read that Super Chat right then and there, and then we will get back on about our business as quickly as possible, as accurately as possible, without forgetting to answer your question. So if you're ready, Mary, we will get going. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. First things first, we have a mea culpa of sorts from Disney, in which they point out that originally they said that these pictures, the leaked pictures of Snow White and the 7 people from Portland, originally they said they were fake, that they weren't real. Now they've walked that back and they're saying, well, they were real. They're just not official photos. That's what they're saying. That's their cope here.
Meaning they were taken by paparazzi instead of Disney hired photographers for promo.
As well, they should.
That doesn't mean that it wasn't a real photo from the set.
Exactly. So it says the original article says that the Daily Mail first published the photos using the exclusive headline, Snow White and the 7 politically correct companions. First pictures of new live action remake of Disney classic shows princess walking with diverse band of merry men and women after row. I love it when they say row over using dwarf actors. However, the Daily Beast contacted Disney, who said the photos are fake. But then now Disney has since walked that back. They're like, look, they're real. They just weren't supposed to come out.
That's also not Rachel Zegler. So scroll up.
Yes, they put Rachel Zegler in quotes.
Scroll up. That's Rachel Zegler. Yeah. What do you think of this promo picture? I haven't seen this one before. The costume just looks bad.
It looks very felty. It looks like felt.
It's giving high school theater production.
Yeah, and the set design, like that looks like the most perfectly like badly done Photoshop sun that's just been plopped into a photo ever. I'm not liking it all that much, but you can't judge a movie based on the set photos this early.
Cover.
But you can judge it based on the fact that they decided not to cast one dwarf rather than 7 dwarves because they're just mean and they just want to ruin everyone's life.
Snow White and the 7 non-binary roommates named Sock who never washed the dishes.
Exactly, we hate them. They're bad people. But out of all the people to talk about it, Matt Walsh had something to say. He says, this is pretty hilarious. Photos from Disney's woke Snow White remake leaked. They were mocked so heavily that Disney panicked and claimed the pictures were fake. A day later, they had to admit the photos were real, just not official. That's what it says here. So it says, yeah, after initially telling the Daily Beast the photos were fake, they had to finally give in and say, okay, they're real, but they weren't supposed to be leaked.
Right.
So are you excited to see this movie, Mary? I can tell how excited you are.
I mean, it's going to be probably worse than The Little Mermaid. There were parts of The Little Mermaid I genuinely enjoyed.
What part did you like about The Little Mermaid?
I just think Halle Bailey is more charismatic than Rachel Zegler.
Well, plus nobody actually likes Rachel Zegler. Both her movies have flopped.
As a person, seems like less genuine and just not as nice of a person. Has taken like every opportunity to put down the original story. Yeah. And Halle Bailey did some of that herself, but it's not nearly as bad.
What do you think about the idea that you should have been cast as Snow White?
Why would I have been cast as Snow White?
Because you've got the skin, you've got the pale.
I've got the skin, I just don't have the hair.
You don't have the. Oh,
and I'm not diverse enough, so that wouldn't have happened anyway.
But Rachel Zegler's just very unlikable online, and also like both her movies that she's been in, if not West Side Story did not do well. Shazam did not do well.
I think she believes this is going to be her big break into big budget films, and I don't think it's going to perform as well as Little Mermaid did.
To before you, woman.
Yeah.
That's
or to Disney Plus.
Yes, yeah,
You're banished.
We will send you to Disney Plus. That's where you belong. Right to the bargain bin, which would have, back in now is, wait, does that make Disney Plus now the $5 movie bin at Walmart, basically?
Yeah. I think Gal Gadot is going to be the best part of the film,
yes.
But the rest of it, I predict, is going to be pretty bad.
The whole time's gonna be me like trying to imagine Gal Gadot not lovable and amazing, and she's being mean. I'm like, I don't buy it.
You're gonna sympathize with her. You're gonna sympathize with the evil queen.
She's gonna flash one smile, and it's gonna make you think of a non Snow White related Gal Gadot smile, and you're instantly gonna fall back in love because only a woman that charismatic could have survived that imagined debacle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So not just that, ladies and gentlemen, but did you see this, Mary? More than 40,000 moviegoers have purchased tickets to Barbenheimer, meaning a Barbie Oppenheimer doubleheader. They're going to go and see it the same day.
I think more Oppenheimer viewers are going to see Barbie than Barbie viewers seeing Oppenheimer for sure.
So what you're saying is Oppenheimer viewers are more worldly and willing to...
They're more cultured.
They're more cultured.
Also when you Google Greta Gerwig, Ryan Gosling, or Margot Robbie, the Google home screen will just play like confetti or fireworks or sparkles in pink.
Not just
over
that.
Their Wikipedia pages.
Not just that, but if you go like on my... I noticed this 2 days ago and I was like, holy crap. On my Roku, like on my TV... Like there's like a sitting screen there. It's not like on the menu, but it's like basically like a side scroller video game, and it scrolls past mountains and stuff like that, and it will scroll past a movie theater banner, and it says Barbie. July 21st. I'm like, oh, it's like this big. I don't know how much it costs for them to put it on there.
But this is
unless
the
you were
future
looking
of
for
like
it,
marketing your movie in the middle of a strike.
Yeah?
They're showing how it's done.
They're doing that with Haunted Mansion. You know what this could mean? Just make movies with no human characters. Just be all animated from now on because you don't have to actually bring the human. Yeah. And then also that actually might work because then you can get back to casting actual voice actors. Maybe some voice actors will quit SAG and cross the picket lines if it means getting to take a role that would normally go to a Beyonce now in a big budget movie, right? Like.
So The Chosen has gotten a waiver to continue production.
Yep.
How did they manage that?
So it says a miracle came down on behalf. I've seen a couple of things. Zachary Levi was talking about this. It's like what the people in this industry are talking about now, which we'll talk about later in the Ron Perlman thing, is what people at like the Daily Wire have been talking about for ages, which is like, you don't have to make movies with the Hollywood machine. Like, you can make independent films. So it says the reason they received a waiver from the Screen Actors Guild, which essentially gives them an exemption to keep filming, even though the rest of the major productions in town are shut down deadline, was first to report the news. The folks who run the Chosen Twitter account have actually been pleading with SAG to cut them some slack. And luckily it came in record time. They were worried they'd have to put a pause on things in Utah. Do you know, I just read the other day that Utah is the second happiest state in the country.
It's because they banned TikTok.
Yes. Well, I was looking at this. There was a
and Pornhub.
Pop Crave did a thing where they listed the 10 least like the least happy cities in the country, like 10 worst cities in the country, and it was all Republican run conservative cities, and you're like, why is that? And then down there at the bottom it lists, like, it says one of the metrics was like social justice. And but
if you did an honest survey of like happiness levels in every major city, then you would see like Portland and New York City and like, what else? Seattle, like all at the very bottom of the list.
I don't know, because I think it actually becomes like a bit of a tribalist thing. Like, they feel proud to be there. It's like a battered wife syndrome. Like, yeah, they're like, I love living in California. I don't want to keep my tax money anyways. I like paying high taxes and having to worry about getting robbed all the time. It's my favorite part about living here.
Justice.
But the weather. That's what they say. Also, reproductive rights was one of the things that was listed on there. So so they received their waiver, so good for them. They can continue filming. I've seen some other things. This has become a little bit of a hotbed for controversy. Do you remember there was like a pride flag was discovered on the set? Do you remember that?
One person, like a production assistant or something on The Chosen, who happened to have a pride flag on displayed on their bag or something, like one of their personal possessions, and this turned into a whole story.
I remember that.
As if The Chosen were openly endorsing like Pride Month. It was ridiculous. Yep.
So good for them. And I've seen some other productions. They're looking for waivers. And, you know, I wonder if a Tom Cruise comes to you and goes, I'm going to need my waiver.
House of the Dragon got an exception. So everything that is actually popular is going to continue producing and promoting, and the SAG strike is just going to silence the people who haven't been promoting valuable products that people want to see.
Also, guys, if you follow me on Twitter, it's at Brett Dasovic on both Twitter and Instagram. I asked you guys, I said, how do you feel about the current industry strikes going on in Hollywood? So I do want to go over that a little bit later when we're in the Ron Perlman to see what the general consensus was. You can imagine, but we'll look into it. Also, Miranda Lambert, man, like multiple country singers in this topic today. Yeehaw. Mother effer. Miranda Lambert stops show and berates fans. No selfies. Listen to the music. This is annoying. Let's watch this really quick because this annoyed me.
Something bound to fall apart. I'm gonna stop right here for a sec, Danny. I'm sorry. These girls are worried about their selfie and not listening to the song. It's pissing me off a little bit.
Okay, listen, broad. Like,
I know you found this annoying, but it's true. Like, when you go to a concert and everyone has their phone in the air, not only can you not see what's going on.
Well, I can't tell if that's what's happening here.
It's ruining the vibe of the room.
You paid the money for those tickets. If you want to sit there and take selfies, you're allowed to do so.
You're within your rights to do so.
If they're blocking somebody else's,
that's
shots,
always the case.
Fine, maybe, but that's like being tall I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that, but being tall at a concert, I've heard, can be damaging for people too. Because then, like, there's this. Have you ever seen the photos of the guys? Like, he's like, it was like an article. It's like he's super tall and he loves to go to concerts. He wears a shirt that says "I'm sorry," like basically. What do you want me to do?
Put the tall people at the back.
Yeah, put the tall people at the back. So I just thought that was kind of a bit rude to put them on blast like that. Like, they didn't ask to be.
If it were just them doing it and they like are the biggest Miranda Lambert fans, that kind of sucks. It's like the Haley Williams story where she called out those people who like a lot of people were freaking out that there was pushing or something going on in the crowd, and she later apologized for calling them out.
It's well, yeah. She had
it's like you're making the situation worse by calling more attention
in
to
the
it.
chat. Definitely not a Fed. Says thick Karen. Yes, she is a bit thick for a Karen. Is she not in this video? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Mary, tell us about what we're watching in this clip. It upset you. I saw you tweet about it.
Yeah. Ice Spice decided it would be a good idea to have children on the set of her music video that she was shooting. And she was literally twerking in front of children. And I don't care if a drag queen does this or whoever you are, it's wrong. Like, just stop sexualizing kids. I don't understand how you excuse that. And no one is talking about it.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, a lot of people were quote tweeting this video and saying, wow, the conservatives will stay silent on this, but as soon as it's a drag queen doing it, they'll claim it's grooming. And it's like, no, I will call out both because both are equally weird. Just stop twerking in front of kids. I don't care who's doing it. They're both the same thing.
All right, let's watch this video here.
Also, shame on whoever brought their kid to this event.
Yeah,
like,
that would be the real question.
Why
like,
you did that?
A certain part of it would be the parents. Like,
it's on the parents, but it's also on Ice Spice.
I mean, is it an 18+ show? I mean, I'm guessing not.
No, she's shooting a music video. This isn't even a concert. She's so mediocre. The child is just
her hair looks
there,
like the inside of a
getting
squash.
Scarred for life.
Her hair looks like the inside of a squash. That kid's like eating he's like eating graham crackers and wondering what the hell is going on.
Where are the parents?
It's a little sus. So yeah, I don't know. Like you're right that it does seem weird that they would call out one but not the other. But at the same time,
but I'm calling out both. So what's the point then? That's not a gotcha moment.
No, I mean, yeah, but you're the only. Are they saying you're the only one though? Right? Like that more people should have a problem with it than just that. But kids, like unfortunately, teenagers and people go to concerts like this all the time, and there are probably kids that go to her concerts with their parents.
There was a weird video of I think Nicki Minaj bringing a young boy on stage, and it gave me some weird vibes. Maybe I'll send that to you if I find it. But same thing.
What is Ice Spice known for? Other than like, I literally only know her as like the person who did the video with Kim Kardashian's kids.
Being in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
She got a feature on one song by Pink Panthers, who's more talented than her, and she strikes me as mediocre in every way.
Well, you know what? She'll have to do better next time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Oh, yes, Mary, tell us. I had multiple people send me this story over the weekend. One of the funniest things about like this job is like some people send you stuff. You're like, I'm not sure if that really fits within the realm of this show. But it is weird how this kind of like that MFer over there is not real lady have kind of blown up as stories.
No, I can kind of feel the internet becoming more chaotic and unnerving every day lately. Like specifically in the past couple months, it's just the timeline is.
I was having a weird weekend. I did too much internet. I was on too much internet this weekend.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but about 8 years ago now, this dress went viral. No one could decide whether it was white and gold or blue and black. And it turns out that this was a dress being worn by the mother-in-law of a groom who is now being charged with attempted murder of his wife.
And in this photo, it looks blue and gold.
I'm pretty sure that it turned out to be blue and black. And then it was used at the time, it was used in a domestic violence PSA that was like, why can't you see blue and black? It was very on the nose. Not a fan of that. But it wouldn't have been white anyway if you're wearing it to a wedding.
You wouldn't wear white to a wedding.
Not a mother-in-law. A mother-in-law wearing white to the wedding?
Just a...
that's a big no.
I don't
no.
know. Is that a big... I don't know the rules. I've never been married. So... Nor am I a mother-in-law. So I don't know. Like, so what? No women can wear white other than the bride? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
Okay.
that's considered
That's
rude.
why
It's like wearing red to a funeral.
It's why the women always end up in those ugly paisley-looking things. Like, or
You have every other color to choose from.
is that where the trend comes from about people like do they make the bridesmaids' dresses ugly on purpose to make the bride's dress look more beautiful?
No, I hope not.
I bet you that's a thing. They're just like there's definitely women petty enough out there to be like, no woman is going to look that beautiful on my big day, so they have to wear some frumpy looking dress with a bunch of frills and stuff that doesn't look good just so that the bride can look more beautiful.
This is just an insane story.
Yeah, so this guy's he's in jail and now nobody knows. Also, which one is more relevant? This or that MFR over there is not real? I think that MFR over there is easier to digest.
It's almost getting weird how many people are trying to find out who this woman is.
Yeah, people are obsessed
Are you
with it.
allowed to be like? She didn't even make her own viral video. It was someone else recording her.
It must mean that she really, really values her privacy, because she could have
Yeah.
curtailed this into like medium level internet celebrity by now and gotten
Yes.
some type of brand deal.
Yes.
Like she could work for a hallucinogen, like a company that makes hallucinogens by now,
Well, I hope
or
she's
a
doing
dispensary.
okay.
Yeah. It's also funny too because like a lot of people felt very, very opinionated on whether you were allowed to care about this story or not. Like I saw a lot of people either say this is the greatest story ever, or they were shaming people for caring. I'm like, dude, it's the internet. The internet's going to internet. It's not going to just behave the way we want it to.
Mm-hmm.
And if people find this lady fascinating, my favorite was the people photoshopping different bodies onto her. One made her a swimsuit model. The other one made her Princess Leia. Like they were
see
like,
that.
the internet does what the internet does, as we all know. And I think she's probably the better story. And I bet you whatever her life is, it's probably pretty ordinary, but it'd be fun if it was like actually more crazy than that. What if she's a spy?
I think it only got so much attention because she doesn't look like someone who would have like a public meltdown. She looks very put together.
Yeah.
She's got like this slick bun and she's wearing jewelry.
She looks like she has annotated notes on her receipts when she needs to bring something back.
That's why it was so like shocking to people, I think. She just looks like she would be well adjusted.
Yeah. Like I tell you, I used to work at a Target back in the day. You know the type. They come in there all prim and proper, and you're like, oh, this lady's going to have an itemized receipt, and she's going to have it circled here and there and there and there. And then,
But you know she's not going to have like a schizo mental breakdown
Yes.
in front of everyone.
And plus, I mean, the other big reason is because she's hot. She's attractive. She's an
Well, that was
attractive woman.
that was a debate even more popular than Margot Robbie, mid or not. So
She's not. Margot Robbie is not mid, and neither is that lady. You know,
Yeah.
and that lady is at the disadvantage because she's being taken at the moment of a mental breakdown on a grainy cell phone.
not at her highest moment.
No, not at all. So it's like, if you can't handle me at my that mother effer over there is not real, you don't deserve me at my best.
Yes,
That's what that is. So, take of that what you will. What would you like to see? Would you like to see cute or cringe first?
Let's look at cute first.
Okay. Cute of the day first, ladies and gentlemen. And if you do have cute of the day submissions, you can send those to me as well on Twitter at Brett Dasovic over there. We got a couple here today. The first is from Kevin, says at Brett Dasovic, hashtag PCC Pets. Here's my beautiful tortoiseshell kitty. She has a special attitude and loves her chair in the Michigan summer sun. She looks very happy.
I love the tortoiseshell cats. I didn't know that's what they were called, but they look like burnt toast to me.
It's a very, very cute cat. I saw this amazing video earlier today. It's a montage of cats getting in shape to beat up dogs. It starts out with like a montage of dogs just like sitting on cats and being mean to cats. And then it's literally got videos of like cats shadow boxing and
I
like
love,
climbing on stuff.
Cats doing jobs. Those memes, like a cat working on a car or something.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's like
My paws look like this, so hers can look like this.
cat memes are great. Everyone loves cat memes. All right, we got one more here. This is from Gerard on Twitter. He says, our boy Arlo loves a cuddle, especially as it gets colder here in OZ. Where's OZ? I don't know. Is it Oz? I guess not, but it looks a little scared there.
I can't get down with the hairless cat.
But like I
really
love
don't.
it's like wide awake and then napping.
It's scary because it shows you like what your cat looks like underneath the fur.
I
don't want to see all that.
Guys, what does the Oz mean? Does anybody know what the Oz is? In the chat.
It's kind of cute.
Okay. Hey, Tom in the chat says, Brett, Mr. The Flash is a solid 6'7", says Margot isn't mid. Come on, dude. You're known to overestimate things. I am not overestimating that one, my friend. Sorry. You're wrong. My personal opinion. All right. Let's go ahead and do Cringe of the Day. Mary, tell us about this one. Yes, Popcorn.
Yes.
I didn't remember who this guy was.
Brett didn't remember this guy. I've shown him some of these videos, but this is Slavoj Žižek. He had a viral debate with Jordan Peterson at one point, if you remember. I'm sure some of you will know who he is. But he decided to jump on the NPC stream trend.
Oh, Oz is Australia.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
And he did one of these TikTok live streams. Let's take a look.
Let's watch this. This is a 21-second clip. Here we go.
Yes, yes, yes. Ice cream, so good. Gang, how should I put it? A hearty thank you to Lopez. Yes. No spicy. Show indeed such an act of slang. Haha. Gang, a second helping of ice cream. So delicious. And so on and so forth.
It's not super cringy. It could be worse. It could be that video of the Island Boys.
I think that he probably was imitating her for his own stream, and then someone edited it, so it looked like he was doing a TikTok live stream.
And it's just funny because this is becoming a thing. Like there was an article in Distractify about does ice cream so good mean anything to you inside the weird controversial world of NPC TikTok streaming.
They're doing an analysis on it.
It's crazy. It's a weird world that we live in now. Man-made horrors beyond your comprehension.
Again, this is part of it. Like the internet is just feeling crazier and crazier every day, but I guess that just means I'm aging out of it.
Is that what it is? Like
I don't know who's watching these streams. Who is donating their money to these streams?
We're over here like yes popcorn for money. I will yes popcorn for money.
Joking like I would do this trend, but in like the most dispassionate way. I'd be like yes. Yes, popcorn. Yes, popcorn. Gang.
You should do one. It's just Mary mildly disapproves of you sending these things to her, and she's getting angry at you for doing so, and then you get angrier as it goes on. Kind of like me when I had to dye my hair blonde, and then I got angrier as more went on.
They want you to take the hat off, by the way.
Well, we can't always get what we want, as the philosopher Jagger once said. Let's go ahead and get into it then, because we got a bunch of stuff to discuss today, ladies and gentlemen. First things first, I want to get into a bunch of the box office news, and I've got a couple of critiques of the writing on a lot of this stuff. So, Mission Impossible opens to $80 million domestically. You can argue about whether you think that is a soft opening or not. It was originally predicted at about 90 million, and then that got lowered. So it hit the lower end of the estimate, but it also made about $155 million overseas. So it made about $235 million over the weekend, which is a pretty good opening. But the problem is like they've got a lot of competition coming, do they not? Like it's not like this is going to have 3 or 4 weeks in the theaters with no competition against it. You've got Barbie, you've got Oppenheimer, you've even got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles after that. You've got a lot of stuff coming out. Did you feel like this ended up about where you thought it would end up box office wise?
I mean, I thought that this franchise was more popular.
No, it's
but
what
maybe
it is
there's too much obsession over the opening weekend.
Yeah, it is.
Because Elemental got to 300 million globally, I think.
Also, this is a franchise.
I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, this is a franchise that skews older, and older people don't always go on the opening weekend. So the idea here would be that it doesn't need to make $150 or $200 million the opening weekend. It needs to not have high drop-offs from week to week. So it needs to continue to make similar amounts of money as the weeks go on. Also, this franchise skews heavily international. So it makes about 70% of its box office, from what I understand, overseas. So as long as it stays on a good trajectory over there, I think it could end up doing that well. But it's indicative of the times we're living in, because I think that a lot of people right now would want to see this movie do well, but maybe wouldn't want to go slow opening weekend if they're older. And as like, I don't think COVID is a fear for many people these days. But look, it's got to make about $900 million. This one had very, very heavy budget issues because of COVID. So $300 million.
$900 million to break even?
So probably about $800 million. So, because I don't know if it's a 60-40 split, but I'm estimating the 50-50 split, and then on the high end. So, $300 million budget, $150 million in marketing. That equals about $450. So you double that. About $900 million. Maybe it's a 60-40 split, so they need to make $800 million. It's the highest domestic opening of the series. It beat Fallout and Mission Impossible 2, but unfortunately, Mission Impossible 2, they are not adjusting for inflation. So Mission Impossible 2 opened to like 78.5 million, but that was it was like 20 years ago. So that actually is your best opening of the sort. But $235 million isn't a ton to sneeze at, but it's just got a lot to, it's going up against a lot for the next few weeks, especially since you could actually make the argument that if the market skews older, Sound of Freedom is going to gobble up those buys, those sales.
Yeah. I agree.
So that's the thing. Okay, this is what is annoying to me about Sound of Freedom. Like, look, not about Sound of Freedom, about the advertising, or I'm sorry, the reporting on Sound of Freedom. In the Hollywood Reporter article, it refers to it as a faith-based political thriller.
Political thriller?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
They called it a faith-based.
I mean, if anything is a faith-based political thriller, that would be like the Padre Pio movie, right? Yeah. It's about like political unrest in Italy in the time of Padre Pio. It has like 20 minutes of Padre Pio screen time. Yeah. But it's faith-based.
I also dislike that term.
That doesn't make any sense.
And it's like if Sound of Freedom is faith-based, then what the hell? It's just not. It doesn't feel that way at all.
Relative to its small budget, Sound of Freedom is making more money than Mission Impossible, which is a huge deal. It
made another $25 million. So $27 million it's up 37% from the $19 million of the previous week. So very rarely in history do movies ever make more money on the second week as opposed to the first week, which is a really, really big deal. And it proves the importance of word of mouth, which is why I said, like, look, if you enjoyed Mission Impossible or you enjoyed Sound of Freedom, you should go out and tell people, like, look, we want people to spend their money on things that reflect what they value, right? And if you value a movie that speaks about a strong topic that has something you believe that other people need to hear about, and that's important to you, you should speak on that if you like the movie. If you want an action film that doesn't bombard you with politics and does the strong independent woman character well, and that's a value to you, you should speak on that film. The only way these Hollywood studios, barring the fact that ESG is a thing, the only way that they can know that you're getting what you want is by actually talking about it and getting other people to join you at the theater, because right now it doesn't seem like Hollywood is going many places as far as money because of the writer's strike. So I just
if the goal of Sound of Freedom was to bring awareness to the issue of trafficking, then I think it is doing just that. Yeah. And this, you might think I'm crazy for saying this, like maybe I'm overestimating how much these things we talk about affect the real world. But when I was reporting those traffickers at the mall over the weekend, these are people that, like, I've been approached by several times in my life at this point.
This is crazy because I've never been approached by a sex trafficking
Isn't that wild?
In my life.
Well, I am wont to walk around a mall and dissociate for hours on end, like, to each their own. That's just, something I like to do for fun sometimes. And that's maybe not normal to see a young woman walking around the mall alone. And I seem like the perfect target for
There's a $20 super chat there.
This one's from...
It says, yes, popcorn. Yeah, no, it doesn't say that.
He said something in Korean. I don't know what it is. Why does Sound of Freedom need to be made political by the media? Such a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. And it shouldn't be taken that way.
I don't
Absolutely,
I don't think that people are listening, because when I reported these people to security, they'd never reacted the way that they did this time. These were like some cops who I assume, because they're in the police force, they skew more conservative. And I bet they've either heard about this film or they've seen it already. And I could tell that they took me more seriously than they had in the past when I reported these people. And I might sound delusional for saying that, but like I genuinely believe this is changing people's hearts and minds.
Maybe it makes it feel more close to home.
Yes.
Like it's not something they weren't aware of before. They understand that this stuff is real, but it just wasn't at the forethought of your mind, which does prove the power that media has over you, right? Just like people ask, like, why do people spend so much money on advertising? That's why, right?
And it's so stupid that, you know, if you think about it, that people needed to see a movie about a certain issue to care about it. Yeah. But that's how the human brain works, I guess. Like that's like the media we watch does affect how we behave and how we feel about the world around us and how we interact with people. And if Sound of Freedom is doing that in a positive way rather than trying to divide people, then I'm all for it.
And in the chat, who was it? I'm saying they had a fair point there. It says, everyone's making it political, even us. Like no one's like everyone's guilty. Yeah, it says, dude, we're making it political too. Everyone is guilty. That may be true, but that does not mean that that's actually what the movie should be classified as. You could say that the topic of talking about the movie is political, but the film itself would not be regarded as a political. Like Kevin Spacey doing King of House of Cards. That's a political thriller, right? Like I don't classify this movie in the same
Game
context,
of Thrones
right?
is a political thriller.
Yeah, like I don't really see those things the same way, but I get what you're saying, but I would disagree on your point there. But I think it's fair to point out, like we are, you know, everyone has made it in a way political by making it a point of discussion. But if you don't push back against the stuff they say, then they get to shape the entirety of the story and the entirety of the narrative. And there has to be pushback against that. Otherwise, all that is said by mainstream press will be taken as gospel. And that isn't necessarily the truth. If anything, it's not your side that's right all the time. It's not their side that's right all the time. If you believe in the idea of sides at all, the idea is usually that somewhere in the middle is where the truth tends to lie. So, but on top of this, guy, speaking of lies, I want to talk about this bonkers article from CBR where they just lie.
From Jeremy Dick.
Jeremy Dick is lying, ladies and gentlemen. So he says Indiana Jones 5 breaks even at the box office. Well, that's shocking because this movie cost a crap ton to make, about $300 million due to COVID constraints and other such issues. So if we're to take 300 million times that by 1.5, and I saw way more marketing than that, but we'll give them a conservative estimate and say $450 million, just like Mission Impossible, which means your break even is anywhere between $800 and $900 million because you have to double it because you have to split it with the theaters. Well, that's crazy because I didn't know this movie was making that much money. Let's see how much money it's made. $302 million.
Yep.
That is not breaking even. That is a lie.
Not even close. A miracle could happen while it's still in theaters and people could come out in droves to see it. I'm not predicting that's going to happen. And it's set to lose Disney $250 million or more. Yeah,
at least. And it just, I hate these types of, this is why people have such a big issue with mainstream press, right? It's like the blatantness of the lie. She's like, wait, broke even. It says Collider reports that the sequel, which is the 5th installment of the Indiana Jones film series, has reached $302 million at the international box office. That pushes the film just past its estimated budget of $300 million. Around 145 was earned domestically. Well, 157 of it came overseas ticket sales. While climbing to 302 million is commendable, the problem is how high the budget and additional marketing cost will likely result in Disney and Lucasfilm seeing very little in terms of profit made from this movie. If by very little you mean losing a lot of money, then sure, I guess that's possible.
So this is interesting. Bounding Into Comics attained a copy of a survey that Disney decided to hand out to viewers of Dial of Destiny within its opening week, where it asked them what they disliked or what they found most favorable about the movie.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she was my favorite part. I loved her so much.
One
in
of
this
the
movie.
questions,
so
it was like, check off, what about the film prevents you from recommending it to others? And one at the bottom of the list was, I don't like the relationship between Indiana Jones and Helena, his goddaughter. That was the sticking point for both of us. Yep. Like, I think she was a big problem in this movie.
I tweeted over the weekend.
Others were not a big enough villain or threat. It was too predictable, too long, not funny enough, too complicated for kids in the audience. That's true. I mean, I don't think that kids would enjoy this movie. Too similar to previous movies. If it were similar to the previous movies, more people would have recommended it and seen it week to week. The time travel elements are too far-fetched. The ending was too predictable. Story is confusing, not enough action. Harrison Ford seems too old to be Indiana Jones.
The scene, there's one particular scene. It's the scene in the very beginning when he like jumps on the bookshelf. I could feel his hip breaking.
Yeah.
Like I could feel his hip breaking. Also, I made a point over the weekend. I tweeted, I said, look, if Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny had taken a page out of the Mission Impossible playbook with Haley Atwell, the movie could have been a lot easier to stomach. They really could have. And I just don't know if they're going to learn that lesson anytime soon, because Disney seems particularly interested in destroying the main characters.
Well, they're clearly nervous about the reception of the film if they're doing this in its opening week.
Yeah.
You know, like acting like the
Also, I'm
appeal
sorry.
for this movie is the new characters like Helena.
If I have to go see a movie that bad and then get something that basically looks like homework, I'm out of here. Like, no, that looks like a test sheet. No, thank you.
And it was like, what did you like about this movie? And one of them is the relationship between Indiana Jones and his goddaughter. I bet nobody checked that one off.
You know what they did? They stuffed the ballot box. They filled some out themselves and then just dropped them in there.
The banter between characters. I'm sure everyone loved that banter about capitalism.
Well, not just that, but also like when she's talking to him, she's just rude, right? Like she has a standoffish air about her that Haley.
There's nothing fatherly toward her about Indiana Jones.
Nor is there anything daughterly
nothing,
by her.
Yeah.
Right. So they're both in the wrong there.
She doesn't respect him.
But then when you watch Indiana, and then when you watch Mission Impossible, she both gets one over on Tom Cruise more than a few times. She picks his pocket. She gets her snide comments in. But at the same time, when she's scared, she shows that she's scared. And somebody pointed out something really interesting. One of the points that pointed out perfectly is in the train car when he basically says, "You have to trust me now." And it's like, that goes a long way. And I didn't get any of that from Dial of Destiny. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I'm sick of these articles, of these mainstream press articles running cover. Because now somebody's going to be out there like, take that, you incels. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny broke even by being short $700 million of the money it needs to make to break even on this film franchise. And people were pointing it out too. Like, it's an easy enough lie to disprove, but it's annoying.
Do you want to end the poll in the chat? We asked you guys, who do you like best? Tom Cruise, Jim Caviezel, or Harrison Ford? Right
now, I'm going to end the poll now just because everyone always gets mad because I never end the polls. Jim Caviezel wins with 55%. My bro. Incredible. All right. 35% Tom Cruise and 9% Harrison Ford.
I thought Harrison Ford would get more of that just because of his older stuff.
If this poll was done before the last sequel trilogy and before this film, he might have gotten some leeway there. Yeah. Or maybe if you'd done it just after Blade Runner 2049. But yeah, I mean, people are they're very soured on it right now. Plus he made that like attempt at being a Tom Cruise type person with that video he posted. Remember
what was
we were talking where he talks about like, we love making, like, we talked about it. Like he
was that at the beginning of the movie?
No, he just posted online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he tried to be Tom Cruise. You can't be Tom Cruise unless you are Tom Cruise. Also, that was why we asked the question today, or we posted the joke. It was a Scientologist and a Catholic walk into a box office. You know,
guess what happens?
Guess what happens? So what do you think the predictions are? So for this coming week, my guess, the other reason why, and I should point out that Mission Impossible is at a little bit of a disadvantage. And guys, if you watch OMB reviews, he's a really good YouTuber. He does very, very in-depth box office analysis. I haven't gotten a chance to watch this week's yet, but he's great for that type of stuff. But there was a 5-day opening. It wasn't a 3-day opening. It was like 56 million if you count the fact that it was not a 3-day opening, it was a 5-day. So, take that with a grain of salt. But for that
Disney
film...
is like king of getting off on a technicality.
Yeah. Well, in this case, that wasn't them. That was Mission Impossible, which is Paramount. So we'll have to see where it goes, but I don't have high hopes. My hope is that I was wrong, and I did predict before. I didn't think Sound of Freedom was going to get to 100 million. I think it will. I think it will end up getting to 100 million now. I don't know if the Barbie audience is the same people that are going to go see Sound of Freedom, except for us, apparently, like maybe Oppenheimer might take some of the business from Sound of Freedom, but it would be great to see Sound of Freedom hold 4th place this week. So Barbie, Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, Sound of Freedom.
Not a bad lineup.
Top 4, right? Yeah. So that's a pretty big box office for a summer where the rest of the movies really do seem to be failing, right?
Yep.
So, all right, let's go to some super chats. We got some.
CJ Rules, you said, how many super chats do you need for you to play the Crisis Party during IRL? Because Shamer is hosting. Ooh. Are we allowed to troll Seamus while he's hosting IRL?
That is a very good question, ladies and gentlemen.
Anything goes.
Could we do that with no Tim to piss off this week? Could we just go and just drop? Could I just turn the Crisis Party on at night?
He can't do shit about it.
What do you get?
We got one from Jay
What
Raymond. He said, you guys are really putting out great content. New fan of the show, and I'm really enjoying the episodes lately. Fellow Mariners fan here. Go Ems.
All right, man. I'm a little bit torn on the hat, my friend, because I'm actually from Minnesota, so I have to be sadly a Twins fan by default. But I did grow up idolizing Ken Griffey Jr., as so many kids did, so I wear Seattle hats to show my support for him. He was an amazing athlete, and at a time when during the home run, when all the steroids were being used, he wasn't using steroids. At least he was never caught, and he never got like overly jacked. So if I'm to buy that he never used steroids, then he got very close to the home run record. Natty, not what's his name, Liver. He did not take the Liver King method, and I appreciate that.
Kevin Corbett said, back on the live show, 2 shows in a row. Let's go.
Let's go.
Keep
bro.
it.
We love it, dude.
On
And
a roll.
And thank you to all the people that have been tuning in. Feels like we've broken through the algorithm lately, doesn't it? Like, it feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Disco Jensen said, best line to get out of a ticket. I didn't know I couldn't do that. Well, they always come up to you and ask you, do you know why I pulled you over today? To try to get you to admit it. But you have to make them explain. Yeah. If you know this.
You're like, oh, that's illegal? You're like, wait, I can't go 80 in a 55? Since when?
I was like telling him my whole sob story. And it probably sounded fake, but you got to do what you got to do. Shane H. Wilder.
Let's move on. Let's come back to it. Guys, hit the like button if you have not done so already. Share this video, this episode with your friends. Let's talk about Ron Perlman, because this video gave me cringe shivers. It really did. I nearly got a cold from watching this.
You were shaking in your boots because Ron Perlman is just so threatening and intimidating.
He's so scary. Ron Perlman threatens studio exec in rant. Be careful, mother F. Asterisk. He's not exactly the most intimidating dude. He looks like you could outrun him and his hip might actually break if you ran fast enough. So let's go ahead and watch what Ron Perlman had to say when talking about... people are saying it's about Bob Iger, but the writer's strike right now, the actor's strike, what's going on right now, there's tense emotions all over the place.
This is in response to that line from an unnamed executive, a studio executive, that said, we're not even going to start negotiations with SAG until these actors and writers start losing their houses, losing their apartments.
Okay, so let's watch
the stakes.
Let's watch Ron's video here. Mm-hmm. Hold on.
One thing before I get off this. The motherfucker who said we're going to keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial. Some of it is karma. And some of it is just
a literal white picket fence behind him.
And we know who said that.
An idyllic bird chirping.
Lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 million a year for creating nothing.
That's Bob Iger, by the way.
Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of shit that stirs shit up. Peace out.
What does he mean by creating nothing? Does he not understand that the company has to exist for them to create anything?
I'm looking up his net worth right now, and it's estimated at $15 million.
50?
15.
Oh, I bet you it's higher than that.
Yeah.
I bet you it's higher than that. Given that he was on Sons of Anarchy, and Sons of Anarchy is, I believe, in syndication. Shows like that, the primetime network, the primetime network in basic cable shows, those are the ones that actually had good residuals. So I imagine he's actually getting some money out of that. But him and Leslie Jones are doing the opposite.
Yes.
Like Michelle Hurd released a video where she just calmly explains like what they're, like this is what we need, this is what we want. She very, very calmly, very succinctly. She's attractive. She's very, very diligent. Like she just looks like somebody you could get behind, right? They're not doing that.
Then let's watch the Leslie Jones video, shall we?
Okay.
You just couldn't do a worse job of ingratiating yourself to the public.
Oh, actually, before we do that, I do want to show cringe. This was going to be cringe of the day for everyone. It's Mark Ruffalo giving a peace sign, and I like this guy says, "Get me my boar clothes." When it's the famous actors, and we'll talk about it when we talk about how people responded on Twitter, they have a hard time buying this. But let's listen to what Leslie Jones had to say about it.
Video 3 or 4 times because I'm trying to figure out the nicest way to say this to try to be kind, but I haven't figured out a way to do it yet. So I'm just gonna say what it is that I want to say. I posted something about the strike, and some of the comments that I'm getting on there, it makes me really sad because you guys are really fucking uninformed. The rich is just trying to get richer. Y'all don't need to upset. And teachers is da-da-da. And black people, and it just makes me just so fucking tired.
Language.
The strike is not just about us trying to be richer. The strike is about protecting our rights. So first of all, so that you know, everybody in this business is not rich. Okay? Not all the actors, some of the actors are lucky. Hey, I'm one of the ones that are lucky enough to really make, some money and be prosperous and shit. But not all the actors are that lucky. Not all the writers are that lucky. Not all the crew, not all the extras. Not all of them are as lucky. You know what I'm saying? This business is a hard business to break through to really make cash.
Go toward the end of the video.
I agree. I mean, she's not wrong.
Yeah, but go toward the end of the video, like the last minute or two.
Okay. Hold, please. It is refreshing. She devolves into a bit of bad
She literally
language.
is like, I'm trying to think of the nice way to say this, and then says, "Go F yourself."
Follow me, because every person I went and looked at.
Here we go.
Big corporations are responsible for. So don't be mad at us because we decided to fucking fight back. How about you get some fight in you instead of coming on people's posts and commenting fuck shit. And let me let y'all know something, because these are the people that follow me, because every person I went and looked at their comment that said that follows me. I'm gonna block the shit out of you. I'm gonna block the shit out of you and not gonna feel bad about it at all. Because my thing is that if you can come on and comment some insensitive fuck shit like that, you're not the person I want following me anyway. I don't want your fucking follow. I don't want to be friends with you. You insensitive piece of shit. So think about that when you're looking at these posts and want to post some real shit, some real fucked up shit about how, oh, you guys are just trying to get paid more and that. Go fuck yourself, homie. Go fuck yourself. We're fighting for people who really can't. There's people in this business that's not even getting paid enough to afford health insurance. Health insurance. They can't even go to the fucking doctor. Why? And it's just like, oh, all y'all rich. No, not all of us. Not all of us, son.
The thing is,
and the ones that are, like me,
those of us watching and commenting on this, we're all aware that not everyone in Hollywood is at the top of the food chain. But the problem comes in when all the well-established, wealthy actors are coming out to speak about this and screech about we deserve our fair share as talent, but they're not going to have enough integrity to actually open their wallet and, you know, sacrifice some of their own wealth to sustain the peons at the bottom of the food chain that make this industry work. So I don't sympathize with their plight. I'm sorry. Like, this is pathetic. And they're terrible at gaining the sympathy of the public, just like antagonizing them this way. And also, I'm not like saying I sympathize with these studio executives either, because the problems in Hollywood go from top to bottom. It's the executives pushing social agendas from the very top that even the poorest writers, like screenwriters, are on board with. So they're these unlikely bedmates, but they get along just fine together. They deserve each other, and I don't care about either of their complaints. And I'm not a fan of AI replacing people or taking people's jobs either, but it doesn't just affect actors, and they didn't have the integrity to talk about it when it was threatening truck drivers who would get, you know, replaced by self-driving cars. They're only talking about it when it affects them.
Yep. Also, the reason I mentioned Michelle Hurd is because she was a good example, and I should have pulled it up. She's a good example of how you do how you do it right.
We need to
These
pull
are
up
examples of how you do it wrong.
The Kimiko Glenn videos that she posted about her residuals from Orange is the New Black on Netflix.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
I'm about to be so rich. And you got time. What?
She got $27 in residuals there.
I would love somebody to
But no, there's more. There's more. She also claimed that during the entire time in Orange is the New Black, they were not paid properly.
Piggybacking on that Orange is the New Black residual post.
$20 super chat there before we...
Yes. This one's from John Stewart. Doesn't California have free healthcare? Could have sworn I heard Newsom boasting about it. Interesting. I don't know.
But also, it's like, we'll get into it here. Let's finish watching this. You could be right, my friend John. I don't know, but maybe these people should take it up with Newsom.
Yeah,
I wonder
pay for your own Ozempic.
I wonder who Newsom is going to side with. Will he side with the big studios that actually bring in the money, or the whiny actors? Maybe he'll try to split the difference and make both happy.
Remember a lot of comments back when I posted that were like, guys, they got paid up front. First of all, whether or not we got paid up front, that shit lives, my tits live on in perpetuity. I deserve to get paid for as many fucking streams as that shit gets.
You deserve to be paid exactly as much as your contract that you signed allows you to get paid, get a better agent and a better manager.
Also, if you didn't want to show your tits on a show, then don't do it in the first place.
Exactly. Sorry, you don't get to change the deal after the fact, lady.
Second of all, we did not get paid very well.
Get a better job. There's a $20 one there from Baron of Gray Matter. Sorry.
He said these lefties complain about CEOs making huge paychecks while the workers get less. As talent, you are the de facto CEO of the film. Are you going to take less to lift up your coworkers? Probably not. Exactly. The pay gap between these well-established, wealthy actors and the lower paid actors at the bottom of the food chain is exactly proportional to the pay gap between these actors and the executives at the top of the studios. But they're not going to accept getting paid less if it means a fair share for everybody.
Also, I dislike the innocuous nature of fair share, which is just socialist bullshit. It doesn't actually mean anything.
They're just hiding behind this labor rhetoric.
The language, but not only that, but also no, when you think about it, look, you are to these companies, these gazillion-dollar companies, as some dude who sells hot dogs at a gas station is, right? You're just the worker, and they don't get what they would consider a fair share either, right? You're imminently replaceable. I'm sorry, but they are. And like I said, I agree with them on some points. I agree with them. I think the AI stuff is getting a bit crazy. I believe that corporations are going to do what the corporations are going to do, but I don't think they're wrong to say that you shouldn't be able to just scan someone's face and use their image forever. Negotiate that in your contract.
Thank you.
See, you guys want this to play during Seamus's episode. What if, as soon as Seamus starts, he's like, welcome to tonight's episode of Da 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 da, just from upstairs, and he's just looking upstairs like, what the God, why have you forsaken me? Look, this is your job to sign these contracts and to figure it out. I don't know what they want me to do. I'm willing to be more sympathetic if you could actually present a more sympathetic argument, but you're not doing that right now. You're giving me glib, you're giving me snarky, you're giving me F-bombs and anger. You're not making people feel very warm and fuzzy towards you.
No.
Not really. So here we go. Let's continue on.
Ever. And when I say did not get paid very well, you would die.
Your tits weren't worth that much, I guess.
People were bartenders still. People had their second job.
Holy shit, Mary. People who had a job had a second job.
Unthinkable.
Crazy.
They were fucking famous as shit.
That doesn't matter if you're not making them any money.
They show like they care more about status
internationally
than
famous.
anything.
Couldn't go outside, but had to keep their second jobs because they couldn't afford to not. We couldn't afford cabs to set, you guys.
Just wanted to say, I think it's important that we tell these stories because I think that there's this widely held belief that it's the Hollywood elite, like everyone has money and everyone has privilege. And it's not helped by the fact that we're parading around in gowns and jewels, like at the award shows. It's so not that. Anyway, most actors have a hard time. So,
and her caption
if
here
you have
says,
a story,
side
I
note,
think you should
the awards
posting.
show event thing has always made my skin crawl. I've never not taken issue with the $2,000 minimum women pay, not the men, just the women, pay just to get loaned a dress, some jewelry, and a whole new face painted on, walking away with the lovely memory of pictures and debt. But if you aren't well dressed, you're criticized by the world, and if you don't show up, it's bad for your career. I just want to act. If these people just wanted to act,
go do indies.
And if they cared about storytelling as deeply as they claim to, then they wouldn't be using their platforms to preach about social and political agendas.
Also, go do
They
indies.
also wouldn't
Don't
be,
do big
like,
budget movies that
They wouldn't
get you
be
in these
consistently churning out crap that no one wants to watch. If you're doing your job, this wouldn't have happened in the first place.
Yep. If you care, if all you wanted to do is act, you'd go do indies. You'd go do small projects with your friends.
If you were an artiste,
In fact,
you should be struggling for it.
And
right?
again, nobody here wants to defend these studios. I think the studio, as far as I'm concerned, let them fight. You know, as they say in Godzilla, let them fight. I asked you guys what you guys thought about the strike. I've got some of the responses here. So I said, what are your thoughts on the current Hollywood industry strikes? And the general consensus from everyone seems to be just like, dude, let them fight amongst themselves. Dane Font says, people who deserve less ask for more. Decoy Voice says candle makers protesting right after the light bulb was invented. Oof, that was right. Chris Carr says let them stay unpaid and unemployed until they make better shit. Let non-union creatives who aren't dogmatically dependent upon health insurance fill the gap with non-ideological efforts that focus purely on aesthetics. They're right.
By the way, Ron Perlman walked back that original video and made another one where he was like, look, I'm not calling for violence. I wish everyone well. But, you know, he basically, you know, doubled down on his message that, you know, all of this is valid. Like our reactions living in our gated communities in our luxury homes.
They're not wrong when they say
justified.
that they're also fighting for people who are making a lot less. And that's true. One funny thing is I wanted to ask the question. I said, how does Netflix make its money outside of just subscribers? How do they even how do you know what you're being paid, right? Like if you're even making the right amount of money, because there's no way to actually tell, you know, there's no transparency with any of that. Like when they put up their list of like top 10 movies on Netflix right now, how the hell do you know that that's actually the top 10 movies on Netflix right now? How do you know it's not just the movies they want to push? they want people to watch, so they put them on a list that people will then go look at and hopefully click on. So they said the online sites and companies are dependent on advertisements and subscriptions for making money, but Netflix only offers subscriptions with an ad-free experience. That has since changed, obviously. There's a $20 one right there from Unusable Alpaca.
The company funds the movies so they get the lion's share, not the loins share. If the actors want more money, then put your money up front to fund the movie, and then you can get a bigger piece of the pie. They need to put their money where their mouth is.
They're just upset. Like, look, I'm not saying it's easy, but at a certain point, you'll have to decide, like, do you want to do you want to ask for more in your contract? The best, it seems like the actors with the most success are also producing. You know, that's why Margot Robbie is so popular right now. That's why Tom Cruise is so popular right now.
I guess there's a community note fact-checking Kimiko Glenn's video.
Okay.
And it says, this video shows Glenn's foreign royalties statement, which are not the same as residuals made off of Orange is the New Black.
Oh!
Residuals are part of the collective bargaining by industry unions, while royalties are negotiated for on a deal-by-deal basis. Royalties are outside the guild realm. So she's not showing what she actually makes in residuals.
Yep. It's not every actor is a millionaire, but you still have to do your best to ingratiate yourself to the public. Some of the actors are doing a good job of that. Other ones are taking a page out of the writer's book, which is not at all, and not ingratiating yourselves to the general public. And again, the sentiment would be a lot better if you hadn't spent the last decade force-feeding everybody garbage that nobody wants to see. If you didn't have your crazy initiatives that nobody cares about, if you weren't constantly telling half the country they were evil people, you know, all of those things would go down a lot better if you weren't constantly shoving it down everyone's throat. So you get what you had coming to them in a lot of ways. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. All right, let's do super chats.
Yes. Shane H. Wilder said, you can't give a ticket to a ghost. Also, did you see Enoch at the fest? Yes, I did.
Who is Enoch?
He was a rapper on the lineup there. Definitely Shane H. Wilder, you should go next time. Taylor Buckthorpe said, being tall at a concert is a curse. I'm 6'5". People, mainly short girls, make comments that I'm in their way.
I'm sorry, buddy. That you don't deserve that.
Disco Jensen said, I want the kind of money where I can pay people to shop for me and trust that they buy good things, but here I am giving it to PCC. Love the content, guys.
Well, you know, the people shopping for you might get you good stuff, whereas PCC always gives you good stuff.
We always deliver the content.
Exactly.
Bender McSimpson said, Mary, your side comments last week during the Margot Greta interview were hilarious. And Brett, I'm with you. You can enjoy the concert however you want.
You paid the money, my friend. You're allowed to. If you want to just sit there and scoff and mock, you can do that. That's the beauty of the free market.
Disco Jensen said, in Mao's Cultural Revolution, people were encouraged to raise their voices about concerns, then later rounded up for outing themselves with opposing views.
Not good.
Matthew Williams said,
one more.
Mary, the one thing Ice Spice has that isn't mediocre, those cheeks, not face, you know.
Well, you know, there you go.
Sure.
All right, let's talk about Jason Aldean.
Yes.
So Jason Aldean has a new song out right now, and it is what they call politically charged rhetoric, and he's getting raked over the coals for it by the media.
He released it with this music video that shows a bunch of clips of riots, people spitting in the faces of cops, looting, things like this, and it's condemning all of those things, and it says try that in a small town, basically implying that places with, you know, deeper ties in their community don't allow these things to happen. There's a reason why you see this in cities where everyone is, you know, deracinated and disconnected from a community and politically radicalized. And that was basically his point. And I'm sure he's well aware that he himself is a city boy. He lives in Nashville. That has like 700,000 people in it. He was born in Macon, Georgia. And he doesn't hide that. Like, he named one of his albums after his hometown. Yeah. And it's a city, not a town.
But he growing up, if you've been performing country music for this long, you would have connections to smaller towns. And
he's performed in countless small towns, I'm sure, and is very familiar with
the culture,
the fabric of this country, and what small towns are like. So he released this music video, and on Instagram he said, when you grow up in a small town, it's that unspoken rule of we all have each other's backs and we look out for each other. It feels like somewhere along the way that sense of community and respect has gotten lost. Deep down, we are all ready to get back to that. I hope my new music video helps y'all know that you're not alone in feeling that way. Go check it out.
I'm of two minds whenever I see stuff like this. Okay, because on one hand, like, look, my goal is eventually there's a small town in Minnesota that I would love to retire to, just far enough outside the city that I don't have to be there if I don't need to, but close enough that if I wanted to go for the day, I could. But on the other hand, like, being cynical and old now, I always laugh when you see like rich artists of any genre, not just country music, say something that feels slightly disconnected from what their actual world experience
You said
is.
rap artists do that all the time.
There's plenty of rap artists who went to performing arts schools that talk about dealing drugs and all this stuff that they never... there's plenty that actually did live that life, but there's plenty that understand that it's an act. There's a rapper named Rise Hendrix. He's the one who, have you ever, I've shown you those videos? They're called Weird Bars, where it's like a guy, he plays the producer and the rapper, and then like he raps, and like the whole video is him saying crazy shit that makes the producer go, what the and then there's another one where it's like the beat doesn't match, where he wears like a mask, and it's like really hardcore gangster rap to like Spice Girls beats or Beethoven. Yeah. But he has a series of videos where he basically talks about, he's like, this is not your life. This is like where he performs a song, but you realize that that's not what the artist actually experienced.
Exactly.
And it's like that in country too. I don't
think that really discredits the message of Jason Aldean's song.
I agree.
Honestly. So here's some of the lyrics. Sucker punch somebody on the sidewalk, carjack an old lady at a red light, pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool? Well, act a fool if you like. Cuss out a cop, spit in his face, stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. We'll try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. And I went to the Genius page for this song, and people are annotating this song in a very passive-aggressive way. One of the interpretations of the act a fool if you like lyric said, this is a literary technique called a dog whistle, where Jason uses coded language to garner support without provoking opposition. Here, the use of African-American slang signals the urban-rural divide and can be interpreted in a black versus white lens, allowing the listener to project their racial anxieties. And there are also people saying that this song is about sundown towns. It's ridiculous.
People writing that are telling on themselves.
Yeah. Here are some more tweets reacting to the song. One person said, so many country music artists are absolute frauds, pandering to idiots who don't know any better, talking about Jason Aldean being wealthy and living in a city.
Also, somebody pointed out that that Macon wasn't a small town, wasn't a big city 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
but it's like, these people would consider country music fans idiot hillbillies, regardless of the message being sold to them. Like, you think of everyone who lives in the middle of the country or in the South as subhuman.
It's one of the reasons...
You would say that anyway.
There's a couple of old shows. There was this is such a weird... I dated a girl who loved this show called Heart of Dixie, starring Rachel Bilson. I hadn't thought about it in ages, but I recently tried watching Black Lightning again with Cress Williams. I love Cress Williams, and he's in that show. And I realized that not that long ago, Hollywood used to be able to portray small town America without it being unbelievably like, they could do it and move forward and talk about these places with at least some semblance of respect and love, right? Like, the characters in the show are not stereotype pieces of garbage. They're like just characters.
Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, well, that was more my speed. But yeah, like it wasn't that long ago that they could do that, but now they can't even do that. Everybody has to be portrayed as some type of ridiculous stereotype because the writers no longer have any real world experience outside of their bubble in California.
It's just funny how they think that this song's lyrics talk down to or condescend to its audience, and not like an Ice Spice music video. Like, if anything, that is showing you like who these rap artists think you are and what you value.
Yeah. Material
items, flexing, hypersexuality. You know, it's more insulting to the audience than anything I see in this song. Another reaction said, I heard some talk about Jason Aldean's newest song and I had to look up the lyrics. Are we really letting this shit slide in 2023, in current year? Are we really gonna let this slide? Ridiculous.
It's the most generically like good old boy song ever, and you're tearing it down.
Another one said Jason Aldean is just a racist who writes barely concealed songs about lynching. Didn't really get that vibe from the song either.
I also don't understand what about it is about how they're going to shoot you if you try to take their guns. Like the lack of moving forward, the inability to actually engage honestly with someone is shocking.
Yeah, another one said, Chen Watts tweeted, Jason Aldean, who was on stage during the mass shooting at a Las Vegas concert in 2017 that killed 60 people and wounded over 400 more, has recorded a song called Try That in a Small Town about he and his friends who will shoot you if you try to take their guns. You know, if you want to look into some of the sketchy stuff about the Vegas shooting, which is still the biggest mass shooting that's ever happened in this country's history, go down that rabbit hole and report back to me whether you think that that's, you know, confirming your message, confirming your bias or not.
Yeah.
This song should have just been about the Vegas shooting. Like, how did he get up there with all of those guns without anyone checking him?
I also think that a big part of this is like we live in a culture now where you're no longer allowed to just exist apart from another group. Like everybody has, it's why we talk about stuff becomes homogenized, right? You're not allowed to make music for a distinct group of people with distinct interests anymore. Like it used to be that, you know, rap music appealed to a certain group of people, country music appealed to a certain group of people. I'm from a family where like my brother listened to everything from Kenny Chesney to Bone Thugs, which is where my interest, like in Tupac and all the rap music that I used to listen to Rage Against the Machine and Metallica. Like my brother listened to everything, literally everything, but not all music was necessarily designed to be interesting to everybody. Now, if you don't make something that's so watered down and bland, it's basically nothing, then you're going to be dragged for it by somebody on either side of the aisle, which is a shame. Like you should be allowed to just create for the sake of creating.
Yeah. It's just funny and like kind of disgusting how they're willing to weaponize the Las Vegas shooting.
Well, that is a long, okay.
When like they probably stereotype the fans of country music who were present because they're so radicalized and brainwashed. They would have thought that they deserved that.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't care about their humanity. It's just when they can weaponize it for a political reason.
And we've seen country music attempt to go more homogenized mainstream lately.
More woke.
Maren Morris,
Kelsey Ballerini,
yeah.
Casey Musgraves.
Yeah.
These type of people.
Do you think that's part of it's just like, look, a lot of these companies, it is the idea that like, look, there's always a need to find newer and newer audiences, and they feel like eventually your audience is going to die out. It's like what happened with comics, right? They weren't just happy with the 40-year-old white male dentists who could afford comics. They need everyone to be able to want to buy comics, and then by trying to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to nobody. Yep. And that seems to be what happens in a lot of cases with stories like this.
Another person said, since people are hating on Jason Aldean already, never forget that he groomed his kids by dressing them in this shit. They posted a picture of his kids wearing shirts that say hiding from Biden. Yeah, that's totally what constitutes grooming.
I mean, I would rather they didn't post. I would rather people keep their kids out of the political. I wouldn't.
That's fair.
But
these are the people who would say drag shows for kids aren't grooming, but that is. Yeah. I'm not listening.
And to be fair, like I say that, but also like Mini AOC was like my favorite YouTube channel for like the family of the people that pretended to be AOC
in a dark comedy type of way.
Yeah, it was great. So it's like, but it's like I don't like it when people other than my hypocrisy on that case, I don't like it when people turn their kids into tools for a political agenda. Sure. Also, this is the guy whose wife threw away the Balenciaga very performatively, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's like, listen, there's nothing wrong with the message of his song. The message of the song was solid. There was nothing in that song that should be in any way offensive to anybody with a rational working brain.
There was nothing racially divisive about it.
Not at all.
That interpretation is insane. Also, Jason Aldean recently ended a concert early in Connecticut because he had heat stroke. So I guess this is a karma for him.
Well, yeah, he had it coming, right?
He had to reschedule the concert and cut it short after suffering heat stroke on stage. He later said he was doing fine after rushing off stage Saturday with what he described as a combination of dehydration and just heat exhaustion. But he's in the video, he just seemed like a genuine person.
Yeah, well,
I mean, celebrities are prone to doing things performatively and like being partisan, whether it's on the right or left, and I expect that from them at this point. But to get any message from this song other than like, you know, rioting and looting is bad and we should have tighter knit communities, like, you have to be unhinged to take that as, you know, political propaganda or racial propaganda.
It's because they see that anything that doesn't strictly adhere to their city worldview is dangerous and a bad thing. Remember when people were saying that people putting large American flags in the back of their 4x4s was somehow a threat? Did you see those articles?
Yeah,
When they're like, it feels like they're threatening me. I'm like, yes, the big scary flag is very, very threatening.
Another one, like in reference to the Las Vegas shooting, someone who annotated the lyrics on Genius said, Aldean employs irony in his lyrics as he believes he and his small town boys could stop delinquency despite not doing so in 2017.
What does he mean by that?
Like, oh, you didn't stop the Las Vegas shooting.
Oh.
So you're acting tough, but you're not. Like, what?
Well,
to think that was anything but, like, I mean, not to, like, get too conspiratorial on here, but, like, that was some sketchy, like, Fed type of happening.
Well, not to mention, it wasn't a small town, therefore he couldn't stop it from happening because it wasn't a small town. I find the stuff you found was worse. The stuff you found where they're like literally overanalyzing the lyrics and creating their own fantasy world about what this very innocuous country song means. I do one thing that I've noticed lately is like, so Charles Barkley came out and was like, Bud Light's great, and you people are rednecks and homophobes. And then I see Garth Brooks saying that, but then I see the other side also saying, like, this is bad. Like, nothing's allowed to just exist anymore. And I used to have this it's not an idea. Like, it's this notion that, like, the reason why climate change as a political topic is so annoying to me is because now there's no such thing as a singular thing in the world that's allowed to just not be political. Even something as boring as the weather. Like, where now it's like, it's 98 degrees out today, guys. It's hot as hell. And then somebody has to come out and be like, well, that's because the polar ice caps are melting. But whatever, right? Like, you're not allowed to be bored and have just a plain discussion about anything anymore. Yep. Everything has to be looked at through some annoying socio-political lens. And it's stupid, and it's boring, and it's dreary. It's not interesting. It's not inspiring. And all of this stuff just makes my eyes glaze over. It does. Like, if country music isn't allowed to just be country music, first of all, my mom would be rolling over in her grave because my mom loved country. Like, I think it's like my dad loved rock and roll. Like, me and my dad would listen to Bob Seger. My mom would listen to country artists like Vince Gill, the Judds, other such artists of the time. And you think about it and you're just like, wow, nothing's allowed to just exist anymore. I have to think about what the hell Garth Brooks thinks about Bud Light. I don't want to. I don't want to think about what somebody who I might agree with on the topic has to think about Bud Light. I don't care.
It's like, even with that song that we called Cringy, the 81 million votes my ass song, it's like, sure, you're free to take these things with a grain of salt. Like, if you find it cynical that Jason Aldean living in a big city and being rich and singing about a small town community is hypocritical, listen to it with a grain of salt. But you don't need to, like, have such a hard on for getting angry about these things.
I do also appreciate, like, when people, like, you're allowed to just not like something and go on about your day. Yeah. And I've got a lot of respect for the people, like when I came out here to work, who, like, some people sent messages and were, like, very upset about that. And other people just quietly decided to unfollow and disagreed. And, like, you know what? I that makes me sad. because I'm not a different person than I was before. But I can respect just being like, look, he lives a life. Granted, they don't understand what that means, but they're saying like I disagree with them, therefore I'm just not going to associate. I'd rather people did that than just make a mountain out of every molehill when it comes to stuff like this. It's just very stupid. So, all right, let's go to Super Chats, shall we?
Unusable Alpaca said the traffickers will be coming for Brett soon due to that beautiful blonde hair. I have faith that Brett will be getting a free trip. I believe in you, bro.
Well, now
don't go to Dubai, Brett.
Well, you know what? It's Dubai and then Mykonos and then okay. So wait, first Dubai, then Mykonos and then Ibiza. And, you know, before long, you've been sold into sex slavery and nothing good comes of that. So, yeah, none of that stuff. But unfortunately, I don't have the looks to take those by the pool photos that they always take, or the private jet photos. It's literally always the same pose in the same chair. Did you see at one point there was a company that was selling like you could take pictures on the inside of a private jet so that you could post them on social media to make yourself look more important?
I saw this TikTok from a literal escort who was like, here's me on my first date with this guy I just met. He like took me to his luxury apartment and he took me on all of these like expensive dates and we like rode on his yacht and whatever, and he flew me out to Turkey for all of this. And everyone in the comments, her message by the way was like, ladies, don't ever expect less than this on a first date, you deserve it. And all the comments were like, you're literally an escort. Like, why are you, I mean, make a video bragging about your lifestyle all you want, but don't make the message like, ladies, you should all expect this from the guys that you match with on a Hinge.
And you have to imagine that every guy you've ever, like, if the guy you just met who works as a bartender doesn't take you out on the private jet in the yacht that he doesn't own, then you know this is where these bad this is where this stuff comes from now, where they talk about how women have completely unrealistic expectations.
I mean, this woman, I'm sure, has completely realistic expectations, which is that you're getting paid for sex in a foreign country. Yeah. You're a prostitute. Like, that's what it is. It's not a first date, lady.
But, anyway. Well, you know what the problem is? She was probably posting from her alt account that's for her girlfriend experience page. And she just got it mixed up. So that's the problem.
Disco Jensen said, I can't care about the plight of actors, rich and poor. They are paid liars in my eyes.
I kind of push back on the idea of paid liar. Storytelling and line. I don't think that's a fair comparison, but it is fair enough to point out that, like, in this case, they can use it for evil by being very good at giving you an impassioned monologue that really raises, you know, Fran Drescher, you said when she was speaking, you're like, I was getting into it because like these are actors. They're good at getting their emotions to show on camera, and they're better at like monologuing and creating a script for themselves in real time than a lot of these screenwriters are. In the chat,
doesn't make their message any more meaningful. In
the chat, they're talking about like the relationship stuff. Yeah. I say, you know what, ladies, first dates to Costco. That's the first date from now on. All first dates are to Costco. So if you want to go on a first date to Costco, that's where we're going.
Those 99-cent hot dogs.
Oh. That's actually a really good idea. That's how it's like a first date shit test where like you're like, yeah, would she be okay going to get?
I feel like we could find a happy medium.
Nope. First date it's to Costco and you get the hot dog and drink combo. And if she doesn't praise it,
there's something in between the 99-cent hot dog combo and going on a yacht that would be okay for most women.
Could we find someplace in the middle? Like you know. We'll see.
Shane H. Wilder said, got to love Perlman's veiled threat followed by a peace out. Also, way to talk down to your audience, celebs. Since they enjoy dropping F-bombs, turnabout is fair play, so F them.
Yeah, that and the white picket fence was almost too much to bear on that one. It made me laugh.
In his other videos, he's such a boomer. He couldn't figure out how to turn off the camera.
He's like, where the hell's the button?
It literally took him like a whole minute to figure out what button to press.
He's like, how the hell do I do this? He's like, where's the off button on this thing? There's no off button on this thing.
Chubbs this Farman said, healthcare, the lady is crazy. No one can afford that crap anymore. They all try to virtue signal about the extras like we can't critique their greed.
And in the middle, she talks about minimum wage. So she just goes completely off script and starts talking about minimum wage. And somebody goes, hey, I was with you until you mentioned the minimum wage. And she basically says, go F off to this person. I'm like, who are you trying to get on your side? The people that are going to like this are already like you. Like the people who are okay with you telling somebody who just had a polite critique of your speech to F off, if they like that, they already like you. You're not winning anyone over by saying that.
Yeah.
Let's do one more and then we will move on. We got one more big topic.
Carnell said, it's like people only do things to get paid, and that's just sad.
What he meant to say is, it's like people only do things now because they get paid. And that's just really sad. It's from Wayne's World. It's Garth in Wayne's World. I have those. You might be happy to know. I have the shoes that Garth is wearing during that part of the movie. I do not have the rest of the Reebok bodysuit outfit that he's wearing or the hat. But I have looked diligently. It's just always more expensive. It costs more than I'd like to spend for something that I'm sure nobody would really care. And I would never wear it out in public except for maybe a Halloween costume. I'd wear the full body suit part, but yeah, it's good. All right, guys, let's move on. I knew when I woke up today and I saw this topic about Bebe Rexha, I said, Mary, you're going to love this one. And then the crisis party went on.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. Hold. There's a PTG shot. It looks so empty without a guest in the guest spot, doesn't it?
Bebe Rexha shared a text message that appears to show her boyfriend calling her out over her 35-pound weight gain. She's trying to Jonah Hill her boyfriend. She's trying to give him the Jonah Hill treatment that Sarah Brady did. But this time she has a far bigger platform than Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend has. Mm-hmm. And it's just dirty. Like, it's just trashy to be airing out your dirty laundry like this. And it also makes her look like she was in the wrong, context or not. Let's read out this text message that Bebe Rexha's boyfriend sent her. She posted this on her Instagram story. Hey, I never said you weren't beautiful, and I never said I didn't love you. In fact, I said how beautiful you are and how much I loved you. But I always said I would be honest with you, and your face was changing, so I told you it was. That was the conversation we were having, and you asked. Granted, she asked him a question like, am I getting fat, babe?
Guys, it's a trap. Anytime
always
she
a
asks,
test.
there is no right answer other than no.
So he said, because I care, would you rather I lied to you? You gained 35 pounds. Obviously, you gained weight and your face changes. Should I just pretend it didn't happen and that it's okay? Come on, I gained 3 pounds and you call me chubs and fat. Doesn't mean you don't love me. If you're trying to find reasons to break up, this makes sense, but it's not the real reason. If you're unhappy with me or yourself or with life and don't see a future with us, then that's okay, and that's the reason. Don't use something like that to weaponize your anger or anxiety or any insecurity you may have. You know I always found you to be beautiful and loved you no matter what. I think it's important for you to think about things and write things down. Speak to a therapist and do this retreat thing to get to the root of the problem. Let me know if you'd like to speak, if you need more clarity. I love you. And they've now broken up.
If she asks if she looks fat in this dress, the answer is always no.
It was a test all along.
It's always no, ladies and gentlemen.
And by the way, it's just getting back what you're giving to him. He said, I gained 3 pounds and you called me fat. So when it's the other way around, it's not okay. This makes her look bad.
Yep. And not just that, but releasing this at all and making your private matters very much public doesn't make her look good either.
And I think the Jonah Hill situation has kind of emboldened people, whether they're public figures or not, to think that posting your private text messages is okay.
Yeah.
As long as you can justify it by using some buzzword like emotional abuse or narcissism. Not everyone that you don't like is a narcissist. Not all of your exes are crazy. Maybe you're the common denominator there.
One of my biggest, like, if somebody says, like, I had an ex and he was a toxic narcissist, I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah, you immediately assume the worst.
Okay. Why was he a toxic narcissist? Oh, like he had to work late one day? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. And this woman, by the way, is 33 years old. Yeah. Like, you're literally the age that Jesus was when he was nailed to the cross. Grow up. and stop posting your private messages on your Instagram like a teenage girl.
Yep.
It's insane that this is justified. And there are a ton of girls like coming to like defend her and say like, wow, she really dodged a bullet. He's obviously a narcissist. He was gaslighting her.
He
was body shaming her, blah blah blah.
There's a little bit in there that I could see, like if you've been conditioned heavily into thinking that nothing is ever your own fault. That could be taken as gaslighting. I don't know if I buy it.
Maybe we'll get more context a week later and find out this guy is a total monster. Fine. But as long as we're looking at this screenshot alone, she looks bad in it.
Yep.
And she didn't even include what she replied like to this text.
And let's face it, like,
and what is this guy supposed to do? She gains 35 pounds and he just isn't attracted to her anymore, but should stay with her anyway. Like, you're expecting the level of commitment that a marriage would entail and not boyfriend, girlfriend.
In fatness and in health.
Yeah, in fatness and in health. You know, if your wife gains 35 pounds, that's not grounds for divorce. Yep. But if you're, like, just dating somebody and you can't talk candidly about something that they asked you about, clearly she can't take criticism from anyone, and she's super sensitive about this topic. Only like just a couple weeks ago, she tweeted, "I know I got fat. I'm just so sick of people talking about it. Next." And now she's posting about it some more, getting people to talk about her weight gain more.
Let's be honest.
She said, human beings go through weight fluctuations. It's life, and you don't know what people are going through, meds, disease, etc. And she's previously talked about her weight gain and said that it's hard for her to lose weight because she has PCOS. Whatever. I don't care about all of these details. It just is so grimy and dusty to post your dirty laundry onto your public platform, especially when you have way bigger of a platform than your boyfriend and you know that he's going to get attacked for this, no matter what it is.
And let's be real. In today's day and age, there is no way that he would be allowed to broach the subject where she wouldn't feel slighted. He will always be the bad guy in the situation to her.
He wasn't even the one that broached the subject if she was the one that asked about it.
Ladies, if you don't like the answer, don't ask the question. And there's also like the thing where they talk about like oh, if you don't like the idea of how it's like how many people have you been with? If you don't like the answer, don't ask the question. But then they go and ask the question like, does this dress make me look fat? You know the answer you're going to get every time, because society has conditioned men to never, ever give an answer other than happy wife, happy life, happy girlfriend, whatever. You're not allowed to actually say what you feel, because first of all, you'd have to approach that delicately anyways. And you're not just going to be like, yes, you look as big as Alabama in that dress, miss. I'm afraid you're fat. Like, you're not just going to say that, but why ask the question if you're not asking for at least some type of honest response?
Right.
And you're not going to get that today. You're not going to get it ever, because we've conditioned men to never do that.
Thankfully, I think because of the Jonah Hill situation, people are kind of smelling shit about this. One person said he honestly told her about her weight gain, and when she asked, she was also the one calling him fat for 3 pounds of weight gain. Make it make sense. He was not judging her for anything. I don't want to be siding with a man right now. Like, even the feminists are like, she's clearly in the wrong here. Another one said, not trying to invalidate her feelings. I'm invalidating her feelings. But I feel like he didn't say anything that made it necessary for her to post this. Like, girl, you could have handled this privately. Yeah. And that's just like, people don't have any concept of having like class or tact or discretion about anything anymore. And everything is fair game to post on social media for clout. Especially when you're a public figure and the idea is to get public sentiment on your side because it's beneficial to you both financially and socially. And this guy is relatively a nobody aside from dating her, and he doesn't deserve to be brought onto the world stage and called an abusive narcissist, gaslighter, or whatever buzzword you want to throw at him just because he was having a private conversation with her. If he started it, then sure, like, you can clap back publicly, but he didn't start it. Yeah. It's just like classless to post something like this, and you're making yourself seem more unhinged. Like, who would want to date you after you do this?
He's probably, I mean, I don't know.
Who would want to have any private communication with you after you do this?
Because, is the idea here that you're never allowed to disagree with her? You're never allowed to be honest with her about something unless it 110% falls directly in line with whatever her thought is on that topic as well. You can't have any type of honest disagreement. And there's a lot of entitlement there, either because she's more famous than he is, because society has conditioned women to feel like they don't ever get to be slighted by men they're with. Otherwise, it's abuse. And then now they have this extra layer where they just leak the messages, and everyone's supposed to be like, "Yas, queen, slay, go you."
People are also claiming that he said this because he's from the Middle East.
Well, that sounds racist.
What? I think we should look up some pictures of them together and analyze the green lines.
Oh, I saw an amazing one the other day of Barbie and Ken green line test where Barbie wins every time.
Rivolino analyzed their green lines.
What's his name?
Let's see. Maybe if you just look up, okay, his name is Keyan Safyari. It's Keyan Safy.
K-E-Y-S. Say it again.
Keyan, and then Safyari. We need to do this analysis. It's essential to the story. Because if he is leaning into her,
that's a pretty split one. They're both they're both leaning in on that one. What do you think? Who wins that one?
He hasn't maintained his frame. He needs to be standing straight as a pin.
Hold on. There's this one. That one.
They're always taking it from the diagonal shot.
Maybe that's on purpose.
Yeah, to
prevent you from looking. She's clearly leaning over on him there if you straighten that photo out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, you can't win.
You can't.
In these situations.
I don't think I don't think that there's a good answer to this, but I know that the right answer isn't just leaking the pictures or leaking the text.
That's such middle school behavior.
Yeah. Well, I
mean, maybe
that's why women love social media, because social media is how you bully like a middle schooler.
Me Too someone for being rude to you, and he wasn't even being rude.
Nope.
Like, that's insane.
He looks like a younger version, like a mixture of Manu Bennett and S.I. Morales. But
she does always seem to be angling her face away from him, though.
She's not there. She's leaning into him. Oh, her face
is always angled away from him.
She's like, ew.
Or she's like, get my good side.
She's
I don't know. She seems like she's the narcissist in this relationship, actually.
A Hollywood female narcissist? Shocking.
Yeah.
That is absolutely shocking to me. You can't be serious, right?
The hoflation is real, guys.
Well, it's do you think that we'll end up getting more stories of this? Well, what we ended up not covering is like the absolute insanity that's going on right now with Kevin Costner's divorce, where his just gold digging wife is just like, there's a photo of her, like she leaves her lawyer's office after getting what she wanted, and she's just smiling ear to ear because she's like, I'm gonna take this poor sap for everything he's worth if I can.
When did that happen?
Very recently. They separate, and he's ending. He's no longer going to be on Yellowstone, but just not soon enough, because she wanted him home. She wanted him to both make all the money that she could spend and be home with her, because she's like Bebe Rexha. She wants to have her cake and eat it too.
Maybe that was part of this relationship too, because she's clearly making more money than him
and having the cake and eating it too.
And it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, even if she's making more money than him, that doesn't matter in this case. Not
it shouldn't
really.
Matter,
it shouldn't matter.
But on a subconscious level, you have to admit, for a lot of women, they don't want to be making more money than the guy that they're with.
Yeah.
Even if it only bothers them on a below the surface level.
Yeah, but then it comes out in the form of leaking text messages.
Yeah.
Because she feels, I don't respect this dude at all, therefore I can just leak this shit because it doesn't matter.
I just imagine her like sitting in front of her vanity and she's like, babe, do you think that like with this weight I've been gaining, my face is starting to look different? And he's like, well, yeah, a little bit.
But I love you all the same.
But I love you and you're beautiful. And this is her reaction.
Yep.
Psychotic.
Like, imagine ever trusting her again. Like, if you're like the next person who dates her, like, and you're just like, she's just like, does this dress look good? He's like, crap, I remember this. It's like, I've seen this.
This is some
before.
toxic femininity on display.
Yeah,
today.
It's the world. It's the world we live in nowadays. She kind of looks like who does she look like to you? Eva Mendes a little bit there, like in this photo. She looks.
This is also like a week after she got that phone thrown at her face and got a black eye. He didn't care about that.
Maybe it was him. Maybe
like,
he threw the phone at her. He's like, I hate you.
You're beautiful even with a black eye, babe.
He's like, just to get the conversation off the weight gain.
Like, some of these replies are just delusional. Like, how can you like be a backseat driver in someone else's relationship? One person said, you're dumb if you would dump a girl just because she gained weight. I guarantee if you were with a girl who gained like 500 pounds, you would break up with her. Like, I know 35 is not the same, but it changes how they look and you're not attracted to them anymore. At least address it transparently.
Yeah, there has to at least be a conversation that has to be had about it. Otherwise,
because it's like
just
you've
going to
checked
fester.
out of a relationship if you don't care about being attractive to the other person anymore. At that point.
What else? What else did people say?
One person said, no shade, Bebe Rexha might be wrong here. This is the most respectful rant from a guy I've seen too. He kept it real, I fear.
It wasn't
you
a
asked
rant.
for his honest opinion and you called him chubs when he gains weight too. That was the dynamic of the relationship. She needs to self-reflect for a second.
I'm sorry, but that is toxic femininity. The idea that a woman can criticize a man and he's supposed to just kind of take it because that's what society expects of them. But in a society now, in an age where like that's not what equality is supposed to mean.
One person said, lots of misogynists are showing their true colors lately.
That's me, Mr. Misogyny.
It's funny how the world never changes. Like, women are never going to stop asking, like, do I look fat in this dress?
Well, it's going to go on forever.
One person said, postmodern feminism has made women incapable of facing criticism or taking accountability. Everything is somehow an attack on them. Any bit of genuine advice is ignored and viewed as disrespect. The result of constantly telling them you're perfect the way you are. And it's also because, I'll add this, I think that feminism has also not just ruined the relationships between men and women, but also female friendships.
How so?
Because in female friendships now, it's like if you're in a friend group, you're obligated to celebrate everything that your female friends do in the name of women's solidarity. Even if they do something toxic or self-destructive, you have to celebrate it and approve of it, or else you are ostracized. And I've experienced this on some of my own, like, friend groups too. Like, if you deviate from like celebrating everything that your friends do, even if you know that it's bad for them, which is like, it's real friendship to tell someone that they're going down the wrong path, if that's the truth. Like, if you see that your friend is in a toxic relationship, or, you know, if they are, you know, drinking heavily or something, and you want to have an honest conversation with them about it, it's almost like this nebulous concept of female solidarity and girl power has ruined women's ability to be their own accountability partners. And it's really sad.
Yeah, and it's part of that is also, it's like there is the contingent of people who are just like, I'm not a jerk, I'm just honest. But then it's always somebody who says something in the jerkiest way, in the jerkiest manner possible. So it's like people assume that that's what it is.
Women are like supposed to be the masters of communication that are able to like cushion those criticisms in a way that like sandwiches it with a compliment and doesn't put down the other person.
Yeah.
And even when you do that now, it's an attack. It's viewed as an attack on another woman. Therefore, you're not allowed to do it. And it's like, also when any woman criticizes another woman who's doing something clearly immoral or hypocritical, it's like, oh, you're just jealous.
That's the big go-to excuse as well. You're just jealous.
I think it's really sad. Like, feminism has destroyed even male friendships too. Like, there's not any acceptable level of like actual intimacy between male friends because it's all considered gay now.
It's
just every level of human relationships has been ruined by this ideology.
Well, and in people that are obsessed with sexual, with any
with
type
shipping
of
and stuff.
with that type of stuff. It's like we were talking about that recently. Like it does in a lot of ways ruin in movies and television. It's ruined that in a lot of ways. Like now, like the female characters aren't just allowed to be friends. You have to then just assume that they're gay. Not to mention, like, most of the time when Hollywood writes female friendships, they write it the way they imagine them to be, not the way they actually are.
This is insane. Someone said, people are taking both sides totally the same. She has PCOS, gained 35 pounds, and spoke to the public about its personal impact on her. Her making a hyperbolic joke, like he says, over 3 pounds, I highly doubt that it hit the same place for him. This is a false equivalence of misogyny. Like, she literally body shamed him, and that was before this conversation ever happened.
And even if that's true, that they're different things, because 35 pounds and 3 pounds are different levels of a discussion.
That's insane. Yep. Like, women should be allowed to criticize each other and be criticized.
Andy, you should be allowed to answer a question when somebody asks you a question if you give an honest response. Otherwise, what you're saying is that you don't value his honesty, you value his subservience and his desire to lie to you to make you feel better. And it's not a long way off for somebody like that to just be like, well, she doesn't want the truth. She wants to be lied to feel better, and then he's going to act like a jerk in other ways because you've conditioned each other not to be truthful and honest with one another.
Yeah, he's doing what people say to do in relationships, which is like be an honest communicator, be direct.
Women don't want men to be honest.
Yeah, not generally, no.
They do
but
not.
I mean, some of these people are saying, I don't see the issue. He seems like so caring in this screenshot, and I'd want my boyfriend to be honest like this.
Be funnier if she responded TL like too long didn't read.
It's just so funny that she posted this thinking people were going to take her side universally.
All right, let's go to Super Chats, shall we?
Zach Corshane said, just got tickets to Sound of Freedom tonight.
Have fun, my friend. Watch the movie, take in the subject matter, and if you like it a lot, I do recommend going and getting family members or friends to go see it as well. And then after that, go see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning for a fun time at the movies. I said fun before, but go and enjoy the movie, but go have fun at Mission Impossible. I almost said Top Gun again.
There were some points during Sound of Freedom where I was like eating my snacks that I snuck into the theater, and I was like, is this disrespectful?
You're like the crinkling of the material is just, you're like, man, this doesn't feel
girl's
like
gotta eat, okay?
Doesn't feel like the right time.
Jacob Edler said, these entitled actors complaining about low pay only live this way because of debt. They do it to themselves, and I have no pity. Proverbs 22:7. Yeah, it's like Sydney Sweeney saying, oh, if I wanted to take a break off of acting for 6 months, then I wouldn't be able to. I have to keep working. I'm like,
it's almost like I have to have a job.
Slave driving me. I'm in the chain gang. And it's like, dude, do you know that normal middle class people also can't take a 6-month sabbatical from working in order to live paycheck to paycheck? Like,
it's almost insane. Like most people have to keep working to live.
Yeah.
We know what it is. It is in a lot of ways because we've made life so easy to live. So it's like back in the day when you had to actually physically go forage, go hunt for food, and struggle was part of your everyday life. Now everyone is so comfortable that they're actually annoyed that they have to get up and go spend 8 hours of their day doing something.
Like, sorry, Sydney Sweeney, retiring at 25 is just not realistic.
But that's what they want, right? They believe that that's plausible, right? They imagine the life where the millionaire who makes several $1 million and just ends, and just magically, I guess they wake up at noon every day. They eat a chalupa. They go and they play basketball for an hour. Like, what do they do all day, right? Instead, what they don't realize is a lot of people that are successful, they're successful and they make money because they're driven to continue working, right? What did Elon Musk start? PayPal or whatever it was? Which one was the one Musk started?
Yeah, he started PayPal.
So it's like he's done a lot of stuff since then. They're just not programmed that way, and that is sad because then we have to put up with their whining forever because, my gosh, going to work every day is so difficult.
Yeah. Kevin Corbett said, people being purposefully ignorant about the content of country music annoy me on a deep level.
Yeah. I love some old country music. My mom really loved country music, so it's like it has a place for me because of it's connected to my family. But
I even like when it's cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, well, the we do things a little different around here
it's
song.
Sincere.
It feels sincere, and like specifically Western people have become so cynical.
Yeah.
And that's not a thing in the rest of the world. Like that cynicism and sarcasm about everything. We need to get past that. Like, cheese is just what you like say to something that's genuinely wholesome.
And it's what I talk about that when we review movies all the time. I said a little bit of cheese is good. Like, to me, earnestness and a desire to tell a story without cynicism is a huge plus for me. And music is a more like palatable place to do that these days, it seems like, at least within country music, right? But like within movies, it's like they're allergic to anything but snark. And I hate that.
Austin Brown said, when I put either Pop Culture Crisis or Timcast IRL in the search function on YouTube, it gives an error. Had come in through an IRL short.
What? Well, that's crazy. Also, considering like we've actually been doing quite.
I want the YouTube overlords to look kindly on us.
Also, lately, I had a couple of days where the stream would end in the episode, like the subscriber count would drop by 60, but it didn't come from anywhere. Like it didn't say like, because when you end a stream or you end an episode, you can look back at all the recent videos and say like this video gained this many subscribers, this video lost this many subscribers. So be careful what you say, otherwise people will hear your take on Jason Aldean and be like, I'm unsubscribing. But like it was like subscribers were just gone, and I've gotten messages recently from people saying again, I've been unsubscribed. I did not unsubscribe. I don't know how common that is. I don't think it's that the YouTube is out to get little old us, but it is something to be wary of. Double check to make sure you're still subscribed, guys.
Cornell. Oh, and like the video if you haven't already.
Always helps to like the video and end it so it ends up in the recommend page for other people.
Cornell said the people who show criticism to Aldean's lyrics are the same people who champion Childish Gambino's This Is America, and in the same breath would repeat lyrics from Redbone like stay woke. Enough said. I mean, yeah, like woke didn't mean the same thing back then as it does now.
Nope, not at all.
But yeah. John Stewart said, if you don't like me at my $1 Costco hot dog, you don't deserve me at my yacht and Mediterranean vacation.
Exactly. That's that's even worse. That's a recipe for anger when she gets done eating the Costco dollar hot dog and finds out you don't actually own the yacht. Then they're just disappointed. Then they're just stuck with you for your personality, and they're like, I'm out of here.
Women love boats. Yep. Shane H. Wilder said, I hope she never meets Joe Biden. Look here, fat. Shane H. Wilder also said, as someone who grew up in a sarcastic household, I learned early not to dish it out if you can't take it.
Yep, you have to be willing to like. Look, on Friday after I shaved, I posted a tweet. I took a screenshot of it because Bertman made fun of me on the show, and I posted it. I was like, first of all, I'm gonna get a more flattering screenshot because the screenshot that he got was just horrible. But then like I posted about it. I was like, look, the hair, not my fault. Other people made that happen. This, my fault. And then it's like 69 comments of people just roasting me. So, you gotta be able to have a healthy sense of humor about yourself if you're going to survive in the world, because life is arduous and long if you don't actually learn to laugh at yourself. True. So, all right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Share these videos with your friends. Get these on the recommended pages so other people will join these discussions. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at MaryArchive, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also MaryArchived.
And not in the other order, right?
I mean,
only
if you want to send me hate and then validation, that's fine too.
Perfect. All right, guys, at Brett Dasovic on Instagram and Twitter. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later.